Welcome back. We just saw two powerful documentaries about mixed couples living in Israel. And to discuss the first documentary about living a couple that is both secular and religious, trying to create a universal language for themselves, we're joined in studio by Miri Sar, a publicist and communications advisor. Welcome to you, Miri.
Hi.
You also came from the other side, I'd like to call it. You used to be religious, and now, well, it seems you're secular, but you're less religious today.
Less religious.
You saw this movie, Miri. Do you think a couple like this can survive?
You know, I think, first of all, it might sound like a cliche, but every single story is very individual. And we can see in this specific story, the documentary that we saw, a very problematic thing about that goes on there. First of all, I would like to say that Dana is very brave in letting us have a glimpse into her private and intimate life with her husband. It's not so easy.
And very brave because she's the one who has to undergo these major changes. Now, the gaps between them, they're very big. Can love overcome such enormous gaps?
You know, it's Valentine's Day, so let's be optimistic and let's say that it can, but as long as there's love. And when I say love and real love, I mean a common language. I mean a mentality that has something of the same. I mean people wanting to come towards each other and wanting to adjust to changes, because there comes many changes alongside you know, your life, and you want to have someone to have faith in and do it together.
You know both of these worlds very well, both the Haredi world and now the less or the secular. Are there solutions in between? I mean, is there one side that always has to make the compromise?
I don't think so. First of all, nowadays, these days, all over the world, you see so many kinds of couples, gender, religion, color. Everyone, you know, today, there are many mixed couples. So also in Judaism and in Israel, there can be couples who succeed. I know, for example, from my own life, when I drifted away of social religion, my daughter moved to another school, and the school is called Yachad. And in the school, there are secular and religious pupils together, and everything is really okay.
And do you think this would be an ideal solution for such a couple?
Yeah, of course, because many of the parents of these pupils are mixed couples where one spouse is religious, the other one is not, or less religious. You know, today there are many kinds of religious people, so you can't call yourself absolutely secular or only religious. There are people in between.
Sure, and the movie that we saw, we see the secular side having to make the compromise. The changes, he undergoes changes by himself, and then she has to kind of assemble herself towards his changes, change the children's schooling systems. Do you think it's the secular side that will usually have to make these compromises?
You know, we don't think about the husband, but the husband did a very huge and dramatic change in his life too, and he's in shock, I think, himself, and so she has to make most of the compromises. But I think for him it's hurtful for him to see that he has to move the children to another school. All the matrimonial issues between them that have to be changed, her dressing differently, everything should be a lot handle other lives.
It's complex for both sides. Now, if looking at your own personal life and what you're willing to share, in some ways you could say that love didn't overcome the gaps between the way you see the world and your drift away from religion. Can you elaborate on your own personal story?
Yeah, and my story was very funny for me when I saw him going to Uman, because in my story, my ex-husband also started going to Uman every holiday, leaving the family alone on the most important holidays for families. I think it was a breaking point. I'm not sure this was the thing that drove us apart. I think that it was a syndrome and not, you know, the disease itself. But in reality, today, he's a religious person, and I'm less religious. And I must say that I've always considered myself as a person with a unique faith. I'm not categorized. I'm my own category. So then I had to just take off a few masks and say, this is who I am, this is my faith, and he's religious and I'm not. And maybe whether this was the thing that drove us apart, I'm not sure. But it's one of the things.
Eventually what it is, and also for you, I know that it was a very long process rather than what we saw in the movie, which was very quick.
It took some time, and I've got to say that today, as a divorced woman, I date, many kinds of men, and they come from all religions.
All the time. We have thanks so much for exposing your story and weighing in today.
You're welcome.
We'll be back here once again tomorrow for a new documentary. Thank you for joining us.